Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm starting off with a spread from my archive journal. I'm already so excited because this spread is about Jujutsu Kaisen, the culling game, part 1. As I'm recording this voiceover, I literally just watched episode 12 yesterday, so this is all still fresh in my brain because I also rewatched episodes 1 through 11 before I watched episode 12 because I said it's serious. Me and my family are going through something. I don't even know where to begin. I guess first and foremost, spoiler alert, I'm definitely going to be saying some spoilers. Let me tell you my ranking of my favorite Jujutsu Kaisen characters so you can maybe understand where my head was at as I was watching this. Number 1 is actually 2 characters because they cannot be separated in my heart, and that's Yuji and Megumi. Yeah. Number 2 is Nanami Kento, the best man I've ever known. Number 3, Miss Maki herself. Will not be using her last name because you know what? We'll get into it. Number 4, I feel like number 4 and 5 are kind of a toss-up between Yuta, Choso, and maybe Geto. So now that you have my favorite characters in mind, I guess I can start with the stuff that I didn't like. I do not care about the third years at all. They're going to have to do something interesting to me. Hikari, I don't know what he's going to get into. I'm sure he's going to have a big fight in part 2. He's going to have to do something interesting to me. I don't know why. I just did not care about them at all. They were just so, they were boring to me, which is kind of the worst thing you can be, is boring. I was just okay. And Hikari, why does he look 40 and he's 18 if he's a third year? And that's it. That's everything I didn't like. Literally just the third years. I don't care about them at all. Everything else, oh my God. The beginning, Yuta was so scary. When that chill came over all of them and they were like, who the hell is that? Yuji was like, is that Gojo I feel? No. Yuta is crazy. He's sick. The way he killed that cockroach cursed spirit, I've forgotten its name. Oh my God. Just his whole head in its mouth. He does not care. Yuji and Megumi getting into their little fights. If I would have been there, I'd been like, can y'all just hug? Let's stop fighting about who means more to the other. Let's just hug and move on. They're so cute. Cause Yuji's if Sukuna, if he does something, if he tries something, and Megumi's quit thinking about that. Let's worry about that some other time. Oh my God. He just doesn't want his best friend to die. They're cute. Also, the moment they stepped into the culling game, number 1, Megumi, he was on one. Megumi was going crazy. But the fact that they immediately got separated, I was like, no. But also Megumi saying I'm not like Itadori. I'll get those points myself. I said, yeah. Megumi was Yuji is different. I will take y'all's lives. Also, speaking of Yuji, Higuruma, I feel like Megumi kind of was beaten within an inch of his life. Yuji was so lucky he went up against Higuruma. I feel like Higuruma and Nanami get compared a lot. Not in a bad way, but honestly, the way Higuruma was trying to do his best and then kind of snapped. That is so Suguru Geto to me. Also, Yuji, I love Yuji so much. What did I say before? Pure of heart. The fact that when he did his first trial, it was ooh, you snuck into a pachinko parlor underage. And then the second one was you killed 576 people. I don't remember what the number was now, but that's Yuji's crimes. Just being a teenager and then literally everything that happened that Halloween night. And then Megumi. Oh my God, his fight with Reggie was so good. He is so cool. And also not to mention, he literally survived an explosion and then still did all that. His shadow technique is so cool. When they were at the fight club and he was just dipping in and out of those shadows, he's so cool. Speaking of fight club, Panda, that made me think of Principal Yaga. First of all, when he said, I'm going to go see my son, yeah, that's a father. That's a father. The tears that I did not shed but would have if I was someone who cried more, they were already in my eyes because I knew. And then the second thing he said, he was essentially y'all sure are brave now that Gojo's not around. Y'all sure have a lot to say now that Gojo's not around. I said, speak on it, Principal Yaga. That was so sad. But also, how sometimes, you never know because of Shoko. It's well, could they have taken him to Shoko? Probably not, but, I don't know. Speaking of being sad, Mai and Maki. However, when I tell you that is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, the way Maki just didn't even let her dad finish his sentence and just gave him a good slice. Maki taking out her entire family is something so important to me. Something so special and important to me. Her nasty, misogynistic family, the number 1 captain of the misogyny crew being Naoya. Naoya, oh, you know what? If I had been there, I'd have been like, Maki, you take a moment, you get a drink of water, you rest. I'll get in there. Let me in there. Naoya saying any woman who can't fall behind a man deserves to be stabbed in the back. Oh, how's that working out for you, Naoya? I hate him so much. I hate him so much. I cannot believe they were putting him. Did anyone see those tweets about like how he keeps being in all the merch and Maki is not? What is that about actually? The scene where like it showed his face like in x-ray, essentially, her fist punching through all of his bone. Yeah. I needed to see that actually. Everyone was really just crazy. Everyone was at the height of their insanity, actually. I love those kids. I really do. I cannot wait for part 2. Why is there no official release date? Like, why would they even release season 3 at all if they were not like ready with both parts? Question mark. There's just so much that looks good coming up as well. Like Yuki and Choso and Tengen, like, girl, what are they talking about? Also, Angel carrying away Megami. I don't know what that means. Yuta has 190 points. Crazy. Oh, Yuji and what's his name? Takata? What's his name? That's so, how'd they find each other? That's so funny. I really had so much fun watching part 1 though. This is my favorite anime. It's my favorite series. And I think this spread turned out really cute. The next spread is for my reading journal. This is about Fated Not to Meet Volume 2, which is a BL manga. I read Volume 1 sometime last year. I can't really remember when that was last year. And Volume 2 was actually on my list of manga that I wanted to read in 2026. This series is a like coworker romance. It's sort of enemies to lovers, but you know how that goes. It's more like rivals to lovers, especially in an office setting. And the main character is asked by someone he knows to use this brand new dating app that he's developing. And it just so happens to be a gay dating app. And the guy tells him like, look, like, you know, you don't actually have to meet up with any of these people. Just chat with them so that it feels like, you know, the app is lively. But one day Izumi, he matches with this guy and he's just chatting, you know, at first as usual. But then he realizes that the guy likes the same movie that he does. And so they start genuinely speaking in earnest. And Izumi is like, what if I just met him? Like, we don't actually have to date. Crazy. And so he goes to meet this guy he's been chatting with. And it turns out to be his rival at work, Sendo. And so the first volume is just all of the shenanigans surrounding that. But volume 2 is of course about them being like a proper actual couple. If you've heard me talk about sequels before, then you know that usually sequels always involve some sort of like jealousy arc. And I will say volume 2 of Fated Not to Meet did include some jealousy, but I'm surprised to see and also happy to see that that was not what the entirety of volume 2 was about. It was actually mostly about the main character Izumi. He has this kind of complex of like, he cannot lose. He can't stand to lose. That's why he and Sendo are even rivals at work. Like he just feels like he has to be number one. And that's because of how he was raised. His parents really favored his older brother. And it was just like, no matter what he did, he could never like live outside of his brother's shadow, essentially. He was never good enough. And so yes, volume 2 is mostly just about Sendo trying to do what he can to help Izumi out of that. I thought that was so nice, so refreshing. I do feel like Izumi was more of like a rounded character than Sendo. You don't really know that much about Sendo. I think that's why the jealousy bits were sprinkled in there so that like he could have some sort of thing that he needed to work through as well. But I felt like even that made sense because Sendo has been in like a lot of like situationships, essentially. Like he's been in a lot of physical relationships, but he's never actually properly dated someone. So he doesn't have as much experience. So yeah, of course he might be feeling jealous. Everything is brand new to him. I remember last year when I read volume 1, how I was thinking that like I would not have normally picked that up because the cover of it just looked like something I wouldn't like, and how I was genuinely shocked that I did like it, and I was glad I read it. And so I'm glad it had a sequel too, and that the sequel was also surprising. It's truly just a fun rom-com series. I think at one point they even say that like they're not enemies to lovers, they're enemies and lovers, which is really funny because they are. Like once they even become a couple, like they're still competing at work. You really cannot tell from the covers of the manga that they're as fun and rom-com-y as they are. They look just sort of like kind of like a typical like no plot, just explicit scenes. Oh, speaking of all the explicit scenes, like there are plenty. That's also what's so shocking. Like it still manages to be fun and have plenty of those scenes as well. I'd actually forgotten like when this was coming out, and I was so happy to see it on my library on Hoopla. I think I was saying before that like Hoopla gets in a lot of Tokyo Pop titles. Honestly, they used to get in every single one that came out. I don't know what's been going on recently, probably budget cuts, because I definitely feel like there are some BL titles that have been released by Tokyo Pop that I have not seen whenever I open the Hoopla app. So that's a bit disappointing. And also, as I said sometime last year, you can't take screenshots anymore from Hoopla. You know, if you take a screenshot, it's just literal nothing. It's just a black rectangle. I mean, I get it, like copyright and everything, but still. Also, I have a little bit more screen recording left, so I just thought I would give you a little life update. First of all, it's been a week since I was talking about all of the Jujutsu Kaisen stuff from the last spread. Right now, it's the 19th. Oh my gosh. When I tell you I've had such a normal week, like I have lived my life on my own terms this week, on my own schedule. It has been so refreshing. I got so much done. The video that you saw before this one, I had it finished by like 2:30 p.m. on a Friday. What? I literally just had so much fun. Yesterday when I was eating dinner, I rewatched episode 12 of the culling game. Like, I have just been doing what I wanted to do this week. I've been reading. I watched a movie that I have not made a spread about yet. I'll tell you about that whenever I get to it. I scrolled through Twitter the other day for a couple of hours, like, oh my gosh, what is this, what life used to be like? I hardly remember. Anyway, I do think the Fated Not to Meet series is fun. It's just like a good fun rom-com, good fun enemies, rivals to lovers. I feel like it also might have just won a BL award. I can't remember now though. You know those one BL awards that come out every year around this time? I think it won something. Now I can't remember. And now that I'm finished with this spread, we can put the spreads that I made today into my digital journals. Since there were only 2 spreads in today's video, I feel like I can't talk that long at the end like this. I'm so sorry. I've only been making 2 spreads per video recently. By the way, it's just, oh my gosh, that's just how it's worked out somehow. And also, you know, my iPad storage, me versus my iPad storage. I really wanted to make a spread too about NCT's 10th anniversary, but whenever it was happening, it was just sad. If you're an NCTzen, then you know, like, it was just like Mark and 10, like my family is crumbling. Everything that I loved is disappearing before my eyes. And then, like, also, not that I was expecting anything from SM Entertainment, but I thought there could at least be, like, some crumbs. No crumbs were even given. There are, like, these pictures that are being posted right now. Like, they're cute. I don't get it, though. There's, like, a video component, too. I just, like, don't get it. Like, what is it? Like, what is it? Speaking of NCT, tomorrow's NCT Wishes come back, and I just have to say, I love Sticky so much. I know I'm gonna like it more than the title track, which is really unfortunate to like a B-side more than the title track, but I have been obsessed with that song. I also feel really bad for NCT Wish in general because like NCT crumbling, like they're barely even a part of it. That's my K-pop rant for this week. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Everything I used in today's spreads will be in my Pinterest board. The link to that is in the description box, along with links to all of my other social media accounts, as well as the links to all of the Google Drive folders for all of my journal deco kits. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. We're almost at the end of April somehow. Crazy to think about. So I hope that your April has been good, and also I hope that May starts out well for you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.